We are joined now by Jim Keith from Keith Funeral and Cremation Services. So good to have you here today.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
And it's all good to be back from Matthew. Y'all sustained some damage.
We did. We had 11 trees fall down. One on top of the building did some damage, but we're back in business. We never really were out of business, let's put it that way. But the building took a hit, but the funeral home still stayed open.
Yeah, and what a great attitude. We have more parking.
We have more parking. We do. 11 trees, a lot of parking.
So how long have you been in Hilton Head?
This time, 2.5 years. I came down in the late 70s and was here for 3 years before I went to Carolina, but we've been here 2.5 years.
What brought you back?
Just love the South, hate the snow. I love Hilton Head. We honeymooned here in 1989.
Very
and,
nice.
So always look for a way to come back, and just had a great opportunity.
Yeah, tell us about your funeral home and services.
Well, it's a traditional funeral home. Hilton Head does a lot of cremations, but it's a real funeral home. And we try to do everything right, do the little things, be very personable. And it's on the Arrow Road on the south end, and it really is a nice, convenient location to the tide points and the other developments. And it's great. It's been great.
Now, what makes your company a little different?
Well, I think probably the thing to do would be say what makes it the same, because most all good funeral homes do the same thing. You see the same person over and over. They don't just shuffle people in and out for your services. Or we deliver things, or we take personal interest, or we come move your furniture, or we come help you in the yard. I've done that for a couple of elderly people that just didn't know who to call, and they called and asked me if I knew anybody. Yeah, I'll go. I don't have anything to do. That's what a good funeral home does. Funeral home builds relationships and doesn't just take your credit card and run away.
That is so true. So I mean, in the passing of my father, the funeral. We're from New York, and the people we used, it was just such a huge part of the process. It helped us enormously in the loss of my dad. And so for pre-planning, is that something that you all do? Do you recommend that?
Oh yeah, we do it. Absolutely, we do it. And I recommend it to an extent. I think everybody should at least know what they want to do and let their families know. You don't have to come in and prepay that. That's just a sales gimmick. It's nice to do if you want to and if you have the money, but the most important thing is to write it down, tell your kids. If you want to come in and pick stuff out, we'll write it all down and keep it in a file. But it's important to know what you want and to let people know.
It is indeed. And what's the difference between cremation and a standard burial?
Well, other than the cost, which is substantial, it's just the trend now. Cremation nationwide, this is the first time it's ever been over 50%. When I got into the business in '90, it was about 12%. Wow. Now it's over 50 nationally, and Hilton Head is approaching 85%. So it's just people move away from home, their kids go away, they worry about the space in the cemeteries, which is a kind of strange argument, but they do worry about that. And it's just simpler, cheaper. You can still have a nice cremation, go to church, have a mass, have a church service, do whatever you want, but it's just a simple, easier way to take care of things.
Sure, and it's a sensitive subject to talk about with the family. How can one approach that?
Well, just be open and honest, number one. Ask hard questions. If somebody wants to ask a hard question, you can give them a hard answer. You don't have to hide anything. And it's just be honest, do what you want. Don't worry about what your neighbor wants or your cousin or somebody like that. Do what you want, what your family wants, and keep it simple.
Sure. What's the best piece of advice that you can give to someone who's planning a funeral?
I would say what I just said is just keep it simple. Do what you want. It's so important. You don't want someone to rearrange their whole life for one person. And everybody has stuff going on these days. Your kids are in college, your grandkids are in college. Just keep your family involved, let them participate as best they can, and just follow what you want to do.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best ways you can celebrate life.
It is. It's a celebration of life. I don't like to think of funeral homes as being morbid. Our funeral home is bright and airy. It's someplace that you're not going to go in there and go, oh geez. It's tough enough to have a business no one wants to use, but to make it dreary goes just opposite of what we want to do.
Exactly. So Jim Keith, Keith Funeral Services, Funeral and Cremation Services. Wonderful to have you here today.
Thanks
for being
very much.
with us.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much for being with us on Talk of the Town. I'm Carrie Dillon filling in for Sandy Benson, and we'll see you next time.